In this day and age, when cars can hit the brakes for you, you can surf the internet on the move, and fuel can be anything from hydrogen to vegetable oil, isn't it nice when a manufacturer just keeps things simple? With its massive engine up front, rear-wheel drive, 4 doors and a boot, the Vxr8 has always been about offering big performance without the massive price tag. And this is the latest incarnation. It gets this dubious new front end. There's new magnetic ride dampers. The interior's been overhauled and there's a few other tweaks as well. But most importantly, there's still the 6.2 litre, 425 horsepower V8 under the bonnet. This car should be good. This car should be very good, in fact. Why? Because when it comes to fast saloons, Vauxhall has got some serious experience. Exactly 20 years ago, it handed over a standard 3 litre GSI Carlton to Lotus, and this was the result. A rear-wheel drive, 178 miles per hour, 377 horsepower saloon that was faster than a Ferrari, but still had room for the family. But 2 decades on, does it still have the power to shock? Or will the Vxr8 make it feel like a relic? Under the bonnet is a 3.6 litre 6-cylinder engine with 2 massive turbos strapped onto that. Lotus also tweaked the brakes, they tweaked the suspension, and they nicked the gearbox out of a Corvette ZR1, which is probably why it's got such a heavy clutch. One thing they didn't include though is any ABS or traction control. Floor the throttle on this thing, and even by today's standards, it's properly quick. There's none of the lag I was expecting to feel because of the twin turbos. And to give you an idea of just how quick this thing is, we were driving behind the new Vxr8 a minute ago and we were reeling it in on the straights. The brakes are fantastic too, peeled off the speed when you're coming into a corner, and then once you reach the corner, the steering is a little bit odd. It takes at least a quarter of a turn before anything really happens. And there's quite a bit of body roll, but all that can be forgiven because it just feels so full of character, and I'm honestly surprised by just how modern it drives. The first thing you notice in here is the sound. This V8 is certainly not subtle, but it's certainly fast. In terms of body control, well, the M3 and the RS5 are in a different league, but that's not the point with this car. It's a lot more playful. It encourages you to be a hooligan. If the M3 was a scalpel, then this would be a baseball bat. Bad points for the car we've got here is fitted with an auto 6-speed gearbox, which is great for cruising around, but when you want to drive fast, it's a little bit slow-witted. We'd definitely go for the manual. The new interior, well, it's a big improvement over the last, and these seats are really comfortable, but it still feels a little bit cheap, especially when you consider this top-spec GTS model now costs almost £50,000. When this car went on sale, it was just about the maddest thing on 4 wheels you could buy, and I have to be honest, for me it was a bit of a boyhood dream to get to drive it. And amazingly, it still feels really well put together. Apart from the steering, it's actually got a lot in common with a modern car. Of course, in every measurable sense, the new car, the Vxr8, is better. It's faster, it handles better, it sounds better, but these two have got more in common than you might think. And of course, there's the price. This costs just short of 50 grand new, and 20 years ago, this cost almost the exact same price. That's what I call consistency.